Hello everyone and welcome to Programming for Beginners episode number 7. In this episode we'll see how our code is executed line by line, how this execution jumps from one method to another, and how the values of our variables change along the way. This is called debugging, and it is very useful because it allows you to find the problems, bugs in your app. Whenever your app doesn't do what you think it should do, there is always this tool called debugger, which will help you fix your app. Remember, when we want to run our app, we go here and click on the start button. And it starts. It shows the grid with all the buttons which we can click. And each time we click on a button, the code inside this method is executed. But how can we be sure? Let's check if our app does what we think it does. Without closing the app, go to Visual Studio and add a breakpoint here on the edge to the left of the first line of code. Just click there. As its name suggests, this point will break the execution without closing the app, giving us the chance to see what's happening during runtime. It's like exploratory surgery. The breakpoint is like anesthesia. It doesn't kill the patient, it just allows the doctor to look inside the body to find the problem. So now when we click on a button, look what happens. The app window gets minimized, it is still there, and here we can see the values that our variables have at this time. Or we can just hover the mouse to see the value. So at this moment, this is the value of our current letter variable. Let's watch how it changes. We can either add another breakpoint here and hit F5 to make the app run until it reaches this new breakpoint, or we can use the F10 key to move to the next line one by one. Hit F10, and we are now on this line where our code checks the value of our variable. Because current letter is not equal to X, the execution jumps to this line. Now watch what happens when I press F10 again. Our current letter variable now holds another value, an X. It's time for this person to be created now, once I press F10. Here I will not use F10, but hit F11 instead. Watch what happens. Visual Studio automatically opened this My Classes file, because this is the file where we defined our person class with its saySomething method. So with F10 you step over, and with F11 step into. If you prefer to use the buttons instead of keyboard, you can find them here at the top. Step into, step over. Now hit F10, the execution enters the method, and if I press F10 again, a message should appear. OK, and we are back to debugging. F10 again, and the execution returns to the button click method. F10, and now click continue here at the top, or F5 key to wake the patient from anesthesia. Let's close the app now and change the code a little so you can debug a more interesting method like this one. To debug this method, we first need to use it somewhere in our code because we currently don't. So let's go back to button click method, and instead of creating a new person, let's create a new car. And call its increase text size method. Now run the app. Click on a button use F10 to move to this line where we call increase text size. And here hit F11 to step into the method. From here you can use F10 to watch how execution moves from line to line or jumps back and forth when you reach the for and while loops with their continue and break keywords. This is a basic example of how to debug an app when it doesn't do what you expect. The debugger is a powerful tool to find what's wrong with your app. Feel free to leave your questions and feedback in comments, and thank you for watching.